Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we've got a creative guy. He's quite phenomenal. He's doing his own fashion. He makes his clothes. He's into the arts as well, as in painting and all that stuff. So he kind of, apart from musician, who knows, he may be a musician, he's kind of covered all the angles. So without further ado, we'd like to introduce Mark. So Mark, great to have you here today.
Thank you.
So tell us, when did you realise you were into the arts? What age?
First of all, I'm so sorry. Ben. But Mark could be my pseudonym. That's quite creative.
Sorry. I interview too many people.
I'll go by Mark.
Yeah.
So when did I realise I was a creative?
Yeah, you decided that you're going to do the route of creative. Obviously, with school age.
Yeah, I think it was ever since I was very young. I was drawn to working with my hands, and quite anti-academia. I could never get my head around kind of logical thinking, and I think I knew I was excessively emotional as a child. So the best way I found to control those emotions was always with any sort of artistic expression or experience. So that's when I think I realised. Okay. Was one of your parents or both of your parents into the arts? No, both my parents. I'm from a very kind of, nuclear working class family. So when it came to me making actual life decisions about university and what I wanted to study further on, it was a little bit foreign because I'm the first person kind of in my family to pursue that. My sister's extremely academic and went down the law route and did the family proud, and I was a bit of a black sheep in that sense. So yeah.
What did your parents do for a living?
So my mum, she for a long time worked with autistic children in an autistic school, and now she's recently just moved to working in a nursery for vulnerable 2-year-olds. So she's quite a Mother Teresa character, and my dad now works as a general manager of a records clerk in a law firm. But my dad's story is pretty crazy because he came from Algeria and was So he worked his way up to be quite he's done well for himself. Not he's not very wealthy, but
Give us a quick spell of. He's come from Algeria. What was he, a farmer or something in Algeria?
He moved here when he was I think when he was 20, and it was just to leave the city. He just tells me crazy stories of kind of sleeping on the streets here, having no money, a lot of when you move to a new country and you've not got. He came to this country with the clothes on his back, so he's managed to work his way into a position where someone like me can have the privilege of pursuing an artistic career, because
So is he a bit disappointed then that he
Yeah.
feels that you should be more?
I don't know if it was disappointment. I think he's just he was and still is very worried about the idea that can this be a career? Could this become a career? Just because it's so foreign,
But how old are you now?
22.
Oh, so you still got time.
Yeah, and it's if I'm honest with you, I've achieved enough to try to kind of prove to him a little bit. At first when it was kind of it was just like a dream. He was a bit go and do another career that is going to give you a job and do the art on the side. But I told him, I just wanted to give everything.
Okay, so the Qualifications when you was in school, you said you weren't that academic. Did you leave with any GCSEs?
Yeah, I got all my GCSEs, but all the
Season above?
Yeah, all season above.
Oh, you did better than me. I got 1 B and I cheated.
I love it.
Everything else was an F for me. Yeah.
For me, it was a case of just like, I don't know if I was lucky or whether I was, I don't know what happened, but I was someone looked over me and I got C's and B's, and it was enough to get me on my A levels and then to uni.
Did you go to state school?
Yeah, I went to Hampstead School, so just where you picked me up, around the corner from there. I went to school 5 minutes from where I lived.
Okay.
So yeah, regular state school.
Well, Hampstead though is probably not too regular though.
Well, it's not Hampstead area.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Camden, but it's called Hampstead School for some reason. I wish it was in Hampstead.
Well, you seem like you've done well as you are. So you got your GCSEs, you got your C as the lowest grade, and then you went on.
Yeah.
What did you go on to do?
So I did my A levels, and I chose art and design, and then.
So that 2 A levels?
Yeah, I did art and design, and then I did like creative writing, which was just like a load of bollocks, honestly.
So art and design's one A level.
Yeah.
And creative writing's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So you knew the route that you're going down.
I knew the route that I wanted to follow. I was just delusional enough to believe that it would get me somewhere someday. There's no promise in following these things, especially if you come from the kind of family I come from. I'm well spoken, I'm well educated, but that's not, that's just because of, I had parents who were kind of, they didn't let me kind of, go astray.
I follow a professor called Jordan Peterson on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know him?
I haven't heard of him.
Okay,
No.
he's a clinical psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And he says one of the main thing about uni is it teaches you how to speak and articulate yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can articulate yourself, you can say what you need to say in very few words.
Yeah.
And get straight to the point
Yeah.
without confusion. Now, that being said, it's great what you did with the writing A level, because that is what you really need if you're going to be communicating people through the artistic world as well.
Yeah.
And especially selling yourself to people to invest in your brand or do whatever. It's going to be a strong point that you need and stuff. So, all right, you went on, you did your A levels.
Yeah. And while I was on my A levels, it got to a point of having to go to university. And I didn't have a clue that art universities existed. I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay.
And I just knew that I wanted to do my A levels and then maybe get some sort of apprenticeship in, I don't know what, but like something where I can, not my brain won't scramble in front of a screen all day. So, and then one of my art teachers, was like, you can go to universities to study art. And I didn't have a clue that existed. I mean, I was pretty ignorant to it all, and a lot of the kids in my class were bigging up this school called Central St. Martin's, which I had no idea what it was, but I figured if everyone was talking about it, I better put my cards on the table and apply. Later I found out that is the biggest fashion school in the world. It's where Alexander Mcqueen studied. And
what area is this?
That's in King's Cross now. Okay. It used to be more central London. I think it used to be in it's a bookshop now, the original campus, but now they're in King's Cross. So I applied to the school. I got rejected from my other application to Kingston, and I remember my art teacher telling me, well, if Kingston rejected you, don't wait to hear back from Central St. Martin's, because if Kingston rejected you, they won't even look at you. And then, again, I think I was very lucky that I ended up being the only one from the school I even went to actually move on to go to Central St. Martin's, and they accepted me to do a foundation. And I went and studied all of everything, fine art, graphics, fashion, and then that's how I progressed on to trying the fashion thing.
Did you find out why they accepted you? What got you in?
I didn't find out why, and I think it would be, it would be, and I wouldn't want to make an assumption, because I think it would be quite indulgent to, but I think I've always been a little bit outspoken in my work, and my work's always been a little bit boisterous. So I think when I applied for Central St. Martin's, I had some like contentious work that was a little bit, could be
controversial,
could be offensive, could be satirical, but it was all just about not just making pretty things, but also trying to make artwork that evoked reaction.
Did you have an interview when you went for it?
So I had a portfolio review, and because there's so many applicants, they can't physically interview everyone. So you basically go in and just drop off a portfolio, and they leave a sticker, whether they want to let you in or not. But the way I did it is you just go drop your portfolio and then keep your fingers crossed, and then they send you an email a month or two later.
So that first piece of artwork or first front page is what it's all about.
Yeah, it was, I have to give credit to the secondary school I went to, because there was a teacher called, all of them were incredible, but there was a teacher called Mr. Moody who would, he was a photography teacher. He wasn't even in the art department, but he spent like a week after school with me from 4 o'clock till like 6-7 o'clock doing my portfolio with me, and he believed in me to bring it, and when I got it, I think just because my school had never seen a kid go to a uni like that, so I felt humbled.
What school did you go to again?
Hampstead Secondary School. It's in Cricklewood. It's like 2 seconds from where you picked me up.
You must make sure you share this episode. Hashtag Mr. Moody Hampstead Secondary.
Yeah, all of them. The whole art department at that school. They were really special. I'll never forget the people. When your parents kind of think what you're doing is a load of shit, they reminded me that they were like, no, like there's a world where this can exist for you.
But do you understand where your father's coming from?
Of course. I mean, my dad comes from a place where, like, you've got to make ends meet. You've got nothing.
What was he doing in Algeria?
So he moved here when he was 20. So he was studying and then left secondary school, and he was working in like almost equivalent to a Snappy Snaps, but obviously in rural Algeria, like a photo studio where people will go and get their passport pictures and stuff. And then he was just on and off things. I think the main thing that made him move was I don't know if he could see a life, I think he had a bit of an American dream that happened in London. So I think he just upped and left one day with the clothes on his back, and I always kind of bow my head to my dad, even though we butt heads about the career I want to take.
Do you tell him you understand his points?
Oh, of course. And the thing is, I'm rational enough, and I go to school with rich kids who they've got the gift of the gab, and they've got the money to afford to be creative. But the difference is that I've grown up with. The difference is I couldn't afford to be creative, but I also couldn't afford to do anything else. So it was something I refused not to pursue it. So I get where my dad's coming from, but I've also got a bit of a contrarian mentality.
Would you say you have an edge against the rich kids? And now why I ask this is because when you're privileged and you're always given everything, you don't really have to think outside the box. You don't really have to push yourself or excel in any way. But if you come from more of a difficult life, or interesting life, let's say, things are more colourful, and you see things at very different angles.
100%.
Things like that. So would you say, because I would have thought you'll be aware and advantage of that.
Yeah, well, it turns out I have been. I was so insecure when I first got to Central St. Martin's, because no one's working class there. You're at the best art college in the world, maybe, and I felt completely out of my depth. I couldn't compete with these kids who they know how to sew because their parents had put them in sewing lessons. They know about artists because their parents knew about artists. I didn't know fuck all. But the thing is, what I did know was how to make makeshift, and I remember I didn't have, when I was growing up, my dad would we'd make toys with carrier bags and make parachutes with old Iceland carrier and that mentality you don't realise, but it carries over into the way you work, where you use what you have, and that resourcefulness puts you at an advantage because your work immediately is in a different category.
Yeah, I understand, because I always I use boxers as an example.
Yeah.
You never hear of a rich person becoming a boxer.
Never. No.
Even though it's one of the highest paid jobs.
Yeah.
The CEO or president doesn't get paid. What Floyd Mayweather, 128 million for one fight?
Yeah.
You can't. I don't think there's a profession where you can actually equate.
No.
Because if he has 3 fights in a year.
Yeah. He doesn't have to work for the rest of his life.
He's getting away, even one fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what you think about that, because that, even though like a big pop star like Beyonce, she's not earning that much in the whole tour of a concert.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot. So and you think about boxing, also there's a lot of less people involved.
Yeah.
So what my point is, before I deviate totally, is that they're coming from a harder life, so they want it more.
Exactly.
And they understand when they're in the ring.
Yeah.
They know they've got people depending on them.
Yeah.
And they know where their parents are. Floyd Mayweather is a prime example. His dad fought some of the greats. Yeah. He didn't get to the top, and now it's his time. And he's done very, very well. Yeah. In that respect of there. So now you're doing your degree. Yeah. And it's a sandwich degree. Yeah. And you just finished your year of practical. Yeah,
well, I came back October last year, and since then I've been working on my graduate collection.
You say you came back, did you go abroad or something?
Yeah. So
go on.
I did two work placements. I was lucky enough to go to Alexander Mcqueen and work there in the design team.
What country is that?
Alexander Mcqueen's in London.
Okay.
And then the dream one of mine, of course, was Mcqueen, is like a heritage UK London label. But then I really wanted to go and work for Raf Simons, who's just taken the creative lead at Prada. So I ended up getting the opportunity to go there and work.
This is in London?
This is in Antwerp, in Belgium.
Okay.
So I ended up getting the opportunity to go there and work with the design team.
I take it there was minimal amount of spaces.
Oh yeah, it's like not to sound like it comes off so like, if I heard someone else say it, I'd want to punch him in the mouth, but it's like it's not common. Let's just say that it was one of the biggest achievements of my life, doing those two things.
Yeah. No, but you sound like you really have a love for what you're doing there, and it's not just because of something to do. No,
just what you said a second ago about coming from a lower income lifestyle. My best mate who I I've been best friends with since secondary school. We're both kind of going into this industry, and when we talk, I always say the thing that makes us different is that we've got something to run away from as well as run towards. We're trying to get out of a certain break break the cycle of just low income families. That's been the thing in our generations. We've got the opportunity to say fuck that and give it a go, not to.
I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is if I fail, I'm in McDonald's. Yeah. If he fails, the other guy, not your friend, other posh kid, he still has everything he needs.
Exactly. That's exactly what.
And he'll say, "Well, Mum, I'm trying to be an artist."
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Yeah. Things take time. I know it's been 10 years. Patience,
literally.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
That is it. And the thing is, when you come from where we come from, you got to convince your parents. Mm-hmm. You've got to convince your family. You've got to convince your friends. All the friends I went to secondary. Do you
have to convince them?
Well, you've got to all my friends. They just stopped. They thought where growing up in inner city London, when I was a teenager, everything's quite homophobic. And if you say you want to do fashion or art, you don't want to do mechanics, or you don't want to, they all think you're gay. They all think you're a puff.
Call you a fag. Yeah. What I would say is this.
My dad thought I was gay. I said, look, I just want to...
I can understand, though.
I said, Dad, look, I just want to make clothes. I said, look, it's quite attractive, you know. I think the modern lady likes a lad who's got a feminine, you know, understands.
It doesn't even
aesthetic.
have to be feminine. Just be if you look good.
Yeah.
If you can conduct yourself good.
Yeah.
You should tell him from James Bond to Hulk Hogan to Wesley Snipes to whatever.
Yeah.
Top actors at their time all have been dressed by some fashion artists in the industry, whether it's music, rap, whatever. Well, maybe not rap so much. Rap people do their own thing.
Yeah.
Most people influenced by some fashion brand who throws things on them. But no, I hear you're saying. All my take is that as an individual, you just do what you're doing, and it's really good when you do something that's against the grain. And I'd take this to the bank if I was you. You do something that's against the grain and your people criticise you, then you know who your friends are. Do you see what I mean? Because a friend, a true friend will say something like, listen, I wouldn't do it, and I don't understand it, but if that's what you want to do, then, you know, I'm for you, but I don't really like it, I wouldn't do it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, for
but then
sure.
also people are young, and when people are young, there's that communication thing.
Of course, yeah.
Someone's that's gay now. Nah.
Yeah.
I can't, you see what I mean? Because it's one of those things. So tell us, when you got these positions, work experience, what was that like? That must have been...
It was life-changing. I didn't ever, you know, going to Mcqueen and just seeing the creative process behind like runway shows and you know, a lot of people know Mcqueen as just like what, you know, t-shirts and stuff. That's accessible product, but like I was working with the team who kind of creates everything for the runway, for the creative team is like, it was a dream. You know, that's such a small niche thing to get into. Those jobs don't exist. They're not in excess. You know, the teams are like 10 people max.
Like 1 in a million.
And so to get there and I have to say the guys at Mcqueen they gave me their time like more than I could have asked for.
So you felt like one of the team.
Oh, 100%.
How long were you there for?
6 months, a full season.
And you were doing what, like 16, 12-hour days and stuff?
It was quite good hours. Not crazy. I mean, towards the show, the hours did get wild. But you're wired. Like when you're doing something you love, you don't want to go. You don't even want to go home. You know? Yeah,
it's because that's true. And they say that's the truth. That's the what's the saying? True success is doing something you love and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So you found true success already. You
can
tell your dad that.
We'll see.
That's where he takes it.
My dad's not going to believe me until I don't have to convince him.
You can point that out to him, though.
Yeah.
That is true success because, Dad, you love your job.
Yeah.
Would you do your job if they paid you less?
Yeah.
And if he says no, so well, Dad, you're just a worker.
Yeah.
You know, there's, at least I love what I do.
100%.
And it makes people feel good mentally.
Yeah. It offers us a creative outlet to look at and then to be a part of making it. It's a beautiful thing to experience.
Did you, and I have to ask you this, did you find that you ever had people who are trying to copy your work, copy your style?
All the time.
All the posh kids.
Yeah, and it's always the kids who are too rich to have a ticking brain. So there was, I mean, that's why I'm not active on social media anymore, because I realise my generation are far better at looking successful than being successful. It's all quite performed amongst my age group. Instagram and things, people, I just thought it's all a facade. And I used to put all my work up there, and I just used to see it. The kids in the lower years and other kids between my years, they would just, you know, without any dignity, just take it. And so I thought, you know, if I'm going to do anything...
It's a tough one, though.
Yeah, because then opportunities will come through social media, really.
Can you patent your ideas? Do you patent? I don't know how it works in the art world.
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
Fashion.
It's a difficult thing to pin down, because people can always just say, well, I thought of that too, you know. But you know, you know in your heart that when your work's being copied, you feel violated, you know.
The only thing I could suggest is that you have your personal website or your social media, but you have it on lockdown. So if somebody wants access to it, you allow them to view, or you allow the McLaren people to, someone has access, and it's not friends of friends.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I mean, that would be good.
Yeah.
And that would be good. So what would you say you've learnt from this whole experience that you wish you knew when you started? And it could be a couple of things. It could be from the education side to actually working with the brands. What I wish, I don't know, because what I wish I had known is not to worry too much, because I often still do get quite worried about the future and if this will actually work out as a long-term career. But I wish I had known at a younger age, just to ease, the mental strain this takes on you. When you're 16, 17, you want to fit in with your friendship group, but your heart is telling you what you love is something different to what they love. I would just say, I wish I had the mentality to just be able to be like sod 'em all and not worry about everything else, because it did work out up until this point. And, hopefully the future me will also want to tell that to myself. But I think it's always important to, I wish there was a role model that looked like the working class kid, especially, in the industry I'm going into. There's not a lot of minorities that are in the positions to inspire kids who don't see themselves, in the places that they dream of, because we're used to just seeing white men, rich white men in these places, and a lot of a lot of young kids don't see themselves, in the places they dream of. They don't see themselves in the Disney films they watch. They don't see themselves. So I wish I could just have told myself to not give a shit, because I think I care too much about a lot of things that don't really matter. What does the future hold for you?
I hope happiness. I hope content. I hope looking back and feeling like I've achieved something, that hasn't been easy but has been worthwhile. I hope that's what the future holds. I hope the future holds just enjoying my life. I mean, I think life's too short not to enjoy it, so it's worth, giving something a shot to get there one day. Look forward to Monday is the main thing. I'd hate to be another person who dreads Monday mornings.
Probably 90% of the world's population dreads Monday morning.
Yeah.
And stuff. Monday's okay for me. It's usually my sleeping day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked all weekend. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I like that. And finally, what's the impact you want to have on the world?
I want to encourage people to think, and I want to encourage empathy and different level of thinking. I'd like to encourage everybody to be able to just be a bit slower in their thinking, and to try to understand things a bit more. So yeah, that would be it. I mean, my generation, we're hedonistic. We just want pleasure, but I think that I'd like to inspire people to want more than life, more than that in life. Deeper understanding of things.
Okay. Well, I see a vision that you will be very successful. So you've got all the connections. I'm sure you networked.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've been lucky. Mcqueen are looking after me this year.
No, don't just rely on that thing. Network heavy with people.
Yeah, of course.
Be assigned with them. Always make sure. You know what it is? I heard I was watching an interview on YouTube. It's called Impact Theory, and the guy said he got promoted. And he stayed on his company much longer. He's in the legal industry, where they said that no one does more than 2 years as a trainee or thing. And he ended up doing 6 or 8 years or something like that. And he said, because he went round to everybody, and he said to them, "Listen, what is it that you don't like doing?
Yeah.
Tell me it, and I will do it for you."
Crazy.
And he went to all the main people who were important.
Yeah.
And the people on his team. And he just did extra time at home. He stayed in the office. He worked from home, blah, blah, blah. And then he, with that attitude, when it came to his 2 years up, even the CEO went, no, everybody below went, no, you can't have him go.
Yeah.
Because like, their life was made much easier. They're getting home on time and all these things.
Yeah.
And eventually, the CEO or someone didn't want him to leave.
Yeah.
But then after a certain 6 years, they said, all right, I think it was his decision to move on.
Yeah.
But he just broke the mold. He said in the 10 or 20 years that company had been taking on trainees or graduates, whatever, and it was a prestige job. It wasn't just, it was a big kind of one of those blue chip companies.
Yeah.
He just kind of rewrote the book.
Yeah.
And that carried him very well in that respect.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Last but not least, where can people find you? If they want to see your artwork, or they're going to email you first to get a glimpse of your thing?
I think they can find me if they're looking. Just give it time, I think.
Yeah, they got to have unless I'm to say, this is your time to shine, so you can give out your Instagram handle and they can ping you a message.
I think
they could ping you a message and show you what they're about before
they catch you. Well,
if you don't want to give out your Instagram handle.
Yeah, I mean, my Instagram handles are benbenai, BenBennai. Okay. But in terms of what the future holds, I think if you're looking, you'll see it. I hope. I've got I've got a different idea of how the work's going to get out there.
Have you created your brand already?
It's in the works.
Okay, so I won't. If you haven't registered your brand name, then I won't ask you, because someone will just take it out.
Yeah, gotta be careful nowadays.
Yeah.
But something it will give it in due time. It'll be out there. Hopefully, I hope. Who knows?
I understand. All right. Well, thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
Ben, and we wish you well.
Yeah. Thank you.
We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.